Ashes of Creation has announced it will be coming to Steam Early Access. The work in progress MMO has always had its own standalone launcher since beginning its alpha phase back in October 2024. This huge news comes with a lot to dissect, both good and bad. This isn't a move the Ashes of Creation community nor the wider MMORPG community seen coming at this stage of development, and only time will tell if this decision will cause Developer Intrepid Studios to lose or gain steam. So hello gamers, it's Nyce, and I hope everyone's still looking forward to their next MMO home is having a nice day. Today we'll be discussing and detailing everything about Ashes of Creation going into early access and coming to the Steam launcher. This will be a long one, and sorry if it took a while, but I really wanted to take my time, rationalize my thoughts, look at feedback from the community, and as always try to deliver a balanced discussion from outside the echo chamber. As always, appreciate any likes on the video since it helps out, and make sure you're subscribed for more. And with that out the way, let's get into it. Ashes of Creation will be arriving to Steam Early Access December 11th. And with this news, they also announced that the current testing phase will be wiped. This came as a huge shock to everyone, and I'm going to break down everything. I won't go over literally everything about Ashes of Creation's development and its history, as I just summarized the previous year of development after its 1-year anniversary in this video here. That will be in the description and clickable at the end of the video for you. I like to start this video by going over the optics on what a move to Steam means. Just as a heads up in advance, I'll be covering all aspects of the recent announcements, both good and bad, as I feel there's a lot of each. So be sure to listen to the video in its totality if possible. There will be timestamps for convenience as well. For those that are new to Ashes of Creation or new to the channel, I've covered this game extensively, and I love the vision of what this MMORPG is looking to accomplish, so just know that any criticism does come from a good place. That being said, the game's original plan was Alpha 1 into Alpha 2 into Beta 1 into Beta 2, and then of course you'll see launch. And the betas were supposed to be right before launch. Well, the move into early access changes a lot for this project. It really changes everything. For one, now those who bought those beta keys over the years will now have access to Steam Early Access. If you recall, Beta 1 and Beta 2 were said to take place right before launch. Everything in this game's development since Kickstarter has always been subject to change, right? I mean, we're consistently reminded, but this is quite the change and deviation, if you will, and the project was said to not be coming to Steam as Intrepid has its own launcher. This is a big deal. The launcher will still exist for those who've already purchased Ashes of Creation, but the fact that it's coming to Steam is a whole separate thing. The cope, the excuse, the reasonable defense of why it's been okay for Ashes of Creation to be in its current state was the fact that this MMO is still in alpha. Despite some people perhaps not having proper expectations set, Intrepid Studios has consistently done a good job reminding testers and their potential audience that it is still just in an alpha state. However, many rightfully feel that coming to Steam and launching the product into early access now voids you of this immunity and this excuse. The days of, oh, it's just an alpha may be behind us. Now, granted, there is still some due leadway here because just like any other early access title, it's not a fully released product. We've seen plenty of great games released into early access in the previous years, and some of that actually went on to have good launches, good 1.0 releases. Early access games, just like an alpha, isn't a full/complete product, and most consumers understand this to some extent, right? Some missing features and content, couple of glitches here and there, and just a little jank is what we've come to expect from a Steam Early Access. That's the whole point of it, to test and give feedback, and it's not, and you just kind of know it's not a fully released product. However, the standard of early access is quite a bit higher than that of the standards of an alpha. With all due respect, in my opinion, Intrepid Studios is trying to have their cake and eat it too here. It's being sold on Steam, but down in the description, potential users are being told, quote, Ashes of Creation is currently in active alpha testing, which means the game is still deep in development and evolving alongside our community. Many of the systems you will experience, combat, settlements, crafting, caravan, sieges, and more, are works in progress. Some are early prototypes, some are being refined, and others are yet to be fully introduced. End quote. Now, I could be wrong, but alphas on Steam aren't super common. In fact, Intrepid has on countless occasions differentiated that this is an alpha, not early access. This is an alpha, not a fully released product. However, it's in early access, but it still has the mantra of alpha inside the description. I and an overwhelming majority of the community did not see this change coming and feel the project is not ready for that wider Steam audience due to a variety of criticisms. Thus, I feel a lot of perhaps warranted criticism will potentially be coming to the project, but more on that later, because before we get into more, I think something important to note is the reasons Developer Intrepid Studios gave as to why this decision to begin early access was made. The biggest question surrounding this news is why? I've seen a lot of speculation and drama around the subject matter, but creative director Steven Sharif literally answered this on the development livestream himself. On the subject of why the move was made, he cited the desire and ability to reach an entirely new audience and to expand the Ashes of Creation community, for feedback of course. He also bluntly said it's to acquire more revenue, which I personally respect him for just straight up saying. He stated it would allow for more revenue, which will allow them more funds to outsource and expedite development. He stated developing an MMO is an expensive process. Steven is essentially self-funding this project and has a lot of salaries to pay. I think just because he's claimed the MMO is fully funded via his own funds, that doesn't exactly mean he's not going to try to lessen that strain on his wallet, of course. He also likes that it's an already established launcher with the ability to reach a larger MMORPG demographic. And I'll be honest, Intrepid's launcher is the worst one I've ever used. Those who own the alpha already will still be using the old launcher, unless Intrepid is sending current owner Steam keys, which I think they're still looking into. Steven stated that two chief complaints that they see is how long the game is taken to develop and how expensive it is to play. With their move to Steam, Intrepid hopes to alleviate both of those issues. Steam funding will allow more funds to continue development and expedite it, and the move to Steam came with a price reduction. I have been very vocal about the price of entry into the alpha, and I have spoke directly with Intrepid about it. It even led to the first reveal of the upcoming price drop that I announced during this video. Ashes of Creation had a price reduction and will now be $50 and is available on Steam to wishlist. This may still feel expensive to some, especially as an early access title, but it's a lot more reasonable in my opinion than the previous prices of $100, $120, $250 bundles, and even higher than that previously. As I mentioned, with this news comes a wipe of the current server/testing phase. This is despite current testers not being given a heads up. However, some knew this was coming. In fact, there is audio of a meeting held October 30th where all team members of Intrepid Studios was made aware of the plans to move to Steam. Shortly after this post was made on Discord on October 30th from a community manager announcing that the stream planned for the following day on Halloween will be moved. This stream would end up being delayed twice. A content creator, Phantom X, actually became aware of the plan to move to Steam and got the audio of this meeting first and posted a video hinting about the news before the wider public was even remotely aware of it. Thus, one can assume Intrepid knew a wipe was coming to accommodate their upcoming new audience, but instead told current testers there was no plans of a wipe. Also, not only was the team made aware of the Steam plans October 30th, if you go and take a look at the Steam history, you can see the idea was put into motion as early as October 20th. Overall, I feel the move to Steam eventually would have been more welcomed if it came at a later date and with just a little bit more polish. Overall, I feel the move to Steam eventually would have been more welcomed if it came at a later date and with more polish. I do think this move, along with the price drop, will get more eyes on the product. Now, whether that's a good thing or not remains to be seen, but regardless, it's happening. And I think no matter how you feel about Ashes of Creation, you shouldn't want to see it fail. The MMORPG genre is very volatile, with cancellations and sunsettings becoming more and more unfortunately common. More competition in the space only helps your favorite MMO, whether or not that's Ashes. Now let's discuss the Steam platform and reviews. But first, let's take a look at the Ashes of Creation trailer.
Vera was once a world of abundance. Great empires flourished and spread across endless seas. Its people, your people, carved kingdoms from wilderness, daring any perils that lay between. For at the heart of this world lays the essence, magic itself. But this wondrous age of discovery and purpose left few prepared for the horrors to come. For the ancients showed no mercy. Survivors were advised to flee to the divine gates. An age passed before the gates reawakened. But now, you and your people have returned to reclaim your ancestral home. Your destiny awaits.
Steam is the most popular PC game launcher and almost has essentially what some call a monopoly on the PC gaming market. While the timing may not be right, moving to Steam will be a great decision in the long term as far as how you distribute your product in a modern market and allow users to locate it. Most modern gamers, and perhaps you listening to this video right now, has a Steam account. Thus, if you wanted to access Ashes of Creation, Steam will be the most convenient option. Intrepid also now gets to adopt Steam's refund policy, which is not even remotely as generous as Intrepid's old refund policy. Intrepid has had an insane 90-day, unlimited hours played guaranteed refund this whole time. I've always felt this was way too generous, and I don't know how many games or any other developers that would have such a policy. However, I think a long refund window is good when it comes to testing an MMORPG, as you know, it takes a long time to really see if an MMORPG has staying power, if it's really good and such, you know? I even know of some accounts buying and being able to refund twice over the past year, essentially playing half a year's time for free with no revenue to Intrepid. However, there comes a downside to being on Steam, which, to be fair, sometimes serves as a good thing for us, the consumer, and that is the Steam rating system. As you're likely aware, there are Steam ratings of negative, mixed, positive, overwhelmingly negative, overwhelmingly positive, and users are able to leave detailed reviews. And although MMO Ashes of Creation is in, its early alpha or rather early access stage, some users may be put off by the experience they receive and judge it as a full product. And that's not to say the game is currently bad or you won't have fun with it, but expectations, desires, and in some cases, ulterior motives can come into play with reviews. And of course, we've all seen review bombing. In fact, you can already see a preview of what's to come by going to the discussion section on Steam. I predict you will see people hating on the vision of Ashes of Creation, just out of spite because of their own personal opinions, some with fair criticism, and of course, the extreme cultists that will tell you it's already the best game ever. I think Intrepid is prepared for the reality of negative ratings and reviews and hoping the negative people will weed themselves out. Word of mouth will continue to help out their reach and the product will stand on its own. And Intrepid is no stranger to negative Steam reviews. Way back in 2019, believe it or not, there was an Ashes of Creation Battle Royale called Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, or what's referred to as APOC. Well, APOC soon ended and lost its ongoing support as the studio shifted more focus back to the MMORPG. This game received a negative overall rating on Steam, and if you look closely, the developer is Intrepid Studios Inc. Yes, I know you can read, but look closer. It's Intrepid Studios Inc. with a period on the end. Whereas if we come back here to the Ashes MMO upcoming, you see there's no dot. So either they wanted to not have that stain attached on Steam, or it's been so long the account is inactive, or they forgot the password. But regardless, if and when the game sees full launch, it will likely be on an entirely new, fresh review slate like we've seen with previous titles doing, with separate game stores for their early access playtests or their betas, and then you have a separate thing for the live launch. Either way, I truly hope everyone gives Ashes of Creation an honest shot and not just review bomb for the hell of it, because that doesn't help anyone. Not the reviewer, not those who read it, not potential consumers looking for a good MMO, not the genre, and not over 250 devs working on this game. Criticism is fine. If you don't enjoy your experience and want to leave a negative rating after playing, then do so. And leave your feedback. Downvote and leave a bad review if you didn't enjoy your time, even with the understanding that it's an early access. That is okay, and in fact, white knighting, in my opinion, can only make this game fail. Just be genuine about your criticism and try to help these developers deliver the MMORPG that we all want. That's how I aim to be whenever I cover Ashes of Creation, and as I said, I don't think anyone wins when another in-progress MMO is lost or another studio is shut down, but hey, use your own judgment because, I heard people with a referral link in the description are untrustworthy.
The reality is, you don't make progress without pain. And sure, there may be some initial negative reviews that we get, but what it's going to require of us as the development team and of you guys as our core community, as our golden cohort of a community, to invite those external users in, to give them an opportunity to see the vision for what Ashes of Creation can be, and to participate in the conversation about what should change and what type of iteration might exist. This is going to be putting us on a center stage to perform, which we will rise to the occasion to do. It could be a little bit bumpy at first, but it's important for us to continue moving forward.
The state of Ashes of Creation still is a good time. Bugs and a couple of issues with Phase 3 aside, it's a fun sandpark/sandbox experience, though far from perfect, especially when compared to some fully released MMOs on the market, of course. As I covered in my recent video, these developers have been hard at work and has shown a lot of progression over the past year of development. I won't detail all of that in today's video as it's already long enough as is, but Intrepid Studios has been cooking, and the current NDA testing ongoing for December 11th release shows a lot of promise and drastic differences when compared to live servers. I'll discuss it all in a future video, but changes to make artisanship and leveling less tedious and overall quality of life improvements have made quite the difference. Gear drops have been dramatically increased as well. I know this was a huge point of a critique from myself and a lot of you commenting, so that's really good to hear. I hear it's felt good, and when I played, I got a lot of drops when I tested the other day. Not to mention all the upcoming content revolving around the Harbingers update, as well as the Deep Sea content and a couple of combat changes. What should perhaps be the bigger story is Intrepid Studios appears to have finally solved dynamic gridding, and it's been in play on the PTR apparently. There's still a lot to discuss, and early access launch is still weeks away at the time of this video, so there's a lot that can still be implemented. So it's all cope, but maybe, just maybe, the game actually feels like an early access title come December 11th. Intrepid seems to always miss promised dates, but I got a feeling this one is set in stone, so hopefully everything goes well. While I don't feel now is the time to go on Steam, there's also a chance that there's really good news that comes from this and a decently sized increase in the audience, the game's popularity, and there's just a chance it goes well from just a fun perspective and it's just received well. I still don't feel this was the right play, and I say that as a creator who frequently covers Ashes and would probably benefit from a larger audience, but this is the common sentiment shared across the Ashes of Creation community and even the outside audience remotely aware of what's happening. However, I am still excited for the future of Ashes of Creation. I truly hope the game reaches a wider audience, and those that give the early access an honest shot enjoy their time and are embraced by the Ashes of Creation community as it grows. I, like literally anyone who's ever covered Ashes of Creation, receives so many "oh, it's a scam" comments, which is just false. Those who are aware know that Ashes of Creation is actually quite far from making a profit due to a multitude of reasons, so it's probably far from a scam. Even just looking at their average salaries, amount of staff, the cost of operating in San Diego, server costs, and the fact that most current users already have months of sub time covered when the game launches, so they're not going to get like a lot of that immediate sub fees, at least from that audience, and that's with the no box cost $15 sub fee model. I would call it the worst scam ever personally. However, that doesn't mean Ashes is perfect or void of criticism. No. And at the end of the day, we're all just gamers hoping the next big MMORPG will soon come, and that the only good MMOs will no longer just be the ones that are 10 or even 20 years old. If you liked the video, please click the like button as it helps others to find it, and if you haven't done so, now's a good time to subscribe. Thank you to all of our YouTube channel members here on screen. If you would like to help support the channel, becoming a YouTube channel member is a great and consistent way to do so. Comment your thoughts on Ashes of Creation in the Steam Early Access announcement. Will you be checking it out? Why or why not? What's your expectations? Let us know. This will be a whole new adventure in the development of the world of Vera. It will be a whole new world available to Steam users, if you will. Thank you so much for watching. It's been nice.
Instagram. There's a lot of stuff like that, but those will probably come online more closer to launch. Just as an FYI.
I do also want to say that I did see a dirty little move by our close friend Nyce in his latest video recapping the last year. At the end of that video, just sneaking in a segment of me singing there. That was not appreciated with that nice. That wasn't very nice, you might say. I wasn't at my best when I was singing in that video.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. Someone to something, I lost my place in the song.